What's going on, guys? I am your host Sam Paddy Projects and welcome to part 6 of the TIR build. Now, I don't know how far we're going to get in this video, but you know because you've seen the thumbnail. So what we're going to try and do is try and get the car ready, try and get the car started, and even try and get the car finished, because Gas Gang Track Day is coming up real soon and obviously we want to make it there. So without further ado, let's jump in, let's get it done. First cab off the rank is putting the wiring harness in from the Type R. But we had to disassemble the wiring harness in place, and this is the engine wiring harness. So here are them side by side. And now we're just assembling the Type R wiring harness, getting all the clips in place and getting all the electrical connectors where they need to be. Jordan worked on the fuse box side while I worked on the slightly easier airbag side. And he taped up the wiring harness just to make sure it was all nice and secure, and then moved on to the fuse box. Got all of that in place with the electrical connectors. And now it's time to put the brains of the car back in. We have an ECU in place, guys. We're getting so close now. And with the ECU in place, it was time to get all the electrical connectors back onto the engine and put on the air intake. And it is looking like a proper car now. In the meantime, I had to get this Scorpion exhaust on, so it comes in multiple pieces, so the back box goes on and also the tailpipes. And with that in place, it was time to move on to the B pipe, which came in 2 sections. With that secured in place, while I was under there, it was time to put the engine mount onto the subframe, onto the back of the engine. Just a couple of bolts and a damper. And with that secured in place, it was time to offer up the cat pipe and bolt that on to the rest of the exhaust. And now Jordan's putting back together the front end. The radiator is going on with the condenser, putting the pipes together and the cross member. You can't forget the bonnet latch. With that all offered up, it was time to put on the crash bar and fill up the radiator. Had a couple of issues trying to get the battery on, so we had to make some modifications to the battery tray. And while Jordan was doing that, I decided to put in the drive shafts on both sides and fill up the gearbox as well, because we lost some fluid when we were removing the engine. And with that out of the way, I rebuilt the suspension and got it ready. And we removed the oil in the previous video, removing the engine, and we had to put some oil in. It's up to speed. What are we up to and what have we done so far?
So we finalised everything in terms of engine mounting, pipeline, wiring. We've swapped over the entire engine harness in engine bay and body, going to the main fuse box and body control module, but all was good. We had one casualty with the ABS line, but lucky enough Type R1 was near on identical, so that's good there. I've done all the last nut and bolt checks, pretty much that's good enough for now to at least get the engine to crank, and if we can get it to crank, we're winning. And then it's just a case of whether we need to swap over the Type R fuel pump, or we might be able to run it on this one. Obviously, as we said before, there's not much information on this project, so we're learning as your guys are learning. So come on, Sam, let's start it.
Let's go. We have power to the clocks. All right, talk to me, Jordan. Okay, key in. Oh, she's alive.
Good sound.
All right, first click.
Can you hear? I hear fuel pump.
Right, so brake fluid low.
Yeah.
We've got obviously check system, so that's going to be VSA of some description.
To clear everything because everything's been disconnected.
And we've got engine check light plus immobiliser plus airbags.
That might be our only issue. The mobiliser.
Got ya. Let me get the other fob, and it might. Every light that we could have had is coming on.
Yeah, but you won't expect this. The car's got a new heart, so.
True. Okay.
If anything, go get the auto and we'll clear the codes.
And we've got no petrol according to this.
Crank it.
It's not going to let me because of a mobiliser. Right. but at least we've got power. So we've got the fob from the Type R here, and we are going to see if we can get rid of that immobiliser fault. Don't look. Oh, no, no.
I'm hearing the right noises from the engine, but it probably won't let you until you clear it.
Alright, so once again, we've worked into the night, swapped over another part of the wiring loom, and just put the terminals back on, and well, we're going to see if it wants to play ball this time, see if we've got everything that we need plugged in.
We have to plug it in.
Have we got any functionality? That's the question.
We have.
We've got functionality now, boys. Oh.
That never happened last time.
So, let's give you an update. It's the next day, and this isn't a part of the video that I wanted to be making, but nothing went wrong so far, so it's about time that something went wrong. So we've seen probably in the previous clip that we got all the electronics working, so everything lit up, and we saw an immobiliser fault. So when it was the green flashing key, it obviously wouldn't let the car start, so we coded a new key to it, but we think it's still not starting because the ECU, when we read it, it's registered as a Honda Civic Type R 2008 now. However, a lot of the old wiring is still in there, and maybe even some of the old control modules. So we swapped over the fuse box, we swapped over another box that was in there. I believe it was for something to do with the steering, but I'm going to have a look at that anyway. But basically it's not fully talking to each other, so therefore for some reason we can't start the car. Now at the front of the car there are some ground wires wherever they are hiding, so around there. So obviously I painted the engine bay, so I cleaned it off and re-put them back on. Same with this side as well. Sorry, my camera is just not being great today. Yeah, so we cleaned that off, put that back on, and there should be another pesky one hiding. But yeah, so we done that to make sure all the grounds were good. Obviously the one from the battery is also fine as well. Cleaned all that off, and yeah, we just can't seem to get the car started. So it could be all manner of things. When we plug the auto in, we're getting no faults on the actual engine side of things either. We've actually only really got airbag faults, and they weren't actually plugged in at the time, so I'm not quite sure what is actually stopping the power going to the starter motor, because when we turn the key we can actually hear the fuel pump for priming as well, so it's making all the right noises, just the button isn't working. So we've tried both of the buttons off camera as well, and yeah, now it's just a case of full-on fault finding as to why it's not turning on. So it is a mapped ECU, so we have got the map on it, the Ecotech tune. But I've spoke to the boys down at Dyno Days, and it's probably not that. Like, the ECU isn't locked, and I don't think we've locked ourselves out. So we may have to do some coding for some modules to make it work. But I'm just spitballing here as to what I think is actually wrong with it. But we're going to jump into some fault finding and see if we can get it running. I'm so gutted because it is literally just right there, and we've spent a whole day off camera trying to fault find, trying to get it done. So we're just going to jump back in again and find out why it isn't starting. Oh my god. Okay, so
get the camera out.
The camera's out. Hold on, wait. Hold on 1 second. All will be explained, however.
Disconnect the charger.
Let's go! Yes, sir! Woo! So go down there into the comments, write me a comment, put subscribe next to it, hit that subscribe button, and you are in for your chance with winning a carbon fiber shift knob. I'm going to be picking the winner with one of those spin the wheels, so your username on YouTube will go into that. I'll leave you a comment underneath your comment on mine to get in contact with you, and then I will be sending one out to you. Absolutely no reason why you shouldn't be entering, so get down there, you know what you got to do, go and do it. Plus, I'm I'm sure that added at least 5 horsepower. Now I'm only playing. So the actual problem was, you ain't gonna believe this, the engine start button and the VSA button have like exactly the same connectors basically. So we wired them backwards. So at that point you could actually start the engine from the VSA button, and it was coming up with the VSA on the screen. And I was thinking, that's so strange. That's a really weird warning light. That usually means traction control. What the hell is going on here? And it didn't twig for so long. And then it obviously did. But that was the issue. So if anyone tries this, then make sure you don't get them backwards, because you're going to have a rough time. So now that the car is running and driving, we've got 3 days to the gas gang track day. And the interior is still completely missing. Dashboard's still out. And it needs to go to MOT tomorrow. So this is going to be the hardest grind that I've probably done. I've been putting in the maddest shift. So much of it was off camera, unfortunately, because like all this bit in the middle was all fault finding. It's probably the boringest thing in the world. And if I had recorded it all, I would have had maybe 24 hours, actual hours of footage. So I didn't think that was going to be conducive to a video. So in this video, well, the continuation of this video, we're going to get the car back together and get it to MOT and hope she passes and that I've done everything well. So I guess there's only one way to find out. Let's get active. So then I had to put the whole car back together. Well, what was left of it anyway. So I started to rebuild the front end, headlights, wings, all of this kind of stuff that you've seen on the channel before. So nothing too scary there. And I moved on to the interior, so I put the carpet in its rough position, and I had to put the headliner back on too. And with both those two things in place, I had to put the dash in and get all the electrical connectors mocked up in the right places so they could reach the right connectors for what they're supposed to be on. And can't forget the passenger airbag, because we don't want any airbag faults. With all that done and the dash back in and the centre console, it was time to throw the seats back in, because we just want this to a roadworthy standard at the moment. And a quick modification on the wing mirrors, I was ready to move on to the scuttles. And with those back on, I'm sure you might have saw it earlier in the video, I'm going to give you an exclusive for the next modification. Carbon fibre vented bonnet. Oh, don't that look pretty? And then it was to put the windscreen wipers back on, and off camera I put on the washer bottle. So the TIR is fully complete at the moment. Well, we've got more modifications to do to make it an absolute beast, and I might have let a few slip in this video just from a test pitting perspective, so be ready for more videos and mods. But it's currently alive as the concept of the TIR. Now, some people have done some 5-door conversions before, none of it's documented, and I just really hope this obviously helps people, and if someone wants to do it themselves, then they can use this as a reference. It's such a cool build. I'm absolutely gassed, and our first drive will be at Gassed on Track. We're going to take it straight to the track, full send, no working out teething issues, none of this business. We're going straight to the track and we're going to send it. So let's see how that goes. It's your boy Sam Paddy Projects. Thank you so much for watching this series, and I'll catch you on the next one.